It's great to see the British Film Festival is back at Palace Cinemas again this year, and it's my great pleasure to be speaking to Kim Petalas, who's the artistic director of the British Film Festival. Kim, as always, welcome to Movie Metropolis.
Thank you, Peter.
Such a terrific array of films again this year, including it's great to see The Coral with Ralph Fiennes, which sounds like a really interesting film.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful film. It's set at the turn of the century, just around World War One, where a lot of the young men are being conscripted, and Ray Fiennes plays a choir master who comes back from Germany, and the local community in Yorkshire a little bit you know concerned about him because of his background, but he brings the whole community together, and it's just a wonderful period piece that nobody does. Period films like the Brits do, and it was a perfect film to open the festival with. And last Wednesday night we got a terrific response to the film, but audiences have got an opportunity to see the film at some very selected sessions over the next 3 or 4 weeks. But unfortunately, there's what the sessions that we've got scheduled. We're not able to add any more sessions. So please, if you'd like to see this really fantastic film, go out and have a look at it in the sessions that we've already got allocated, because that's your only opportunity to see it before it gets released very early next year.
Uh-huh. Okay. Now, I was intrigued to see a film directed by Brian Cox. This is the first film that he's directed, a film called Glen Rothan.
Yeah, look, Glenn Rothen's a really interesting family um, sentimental comedy drama. It's a film that I really, really enjoyed, and it deals with two brothers. One's living in America, and the other one stayed at the distillery in Scotland. And a turn of events brings them back together. The family's been estranged, but they do meet up again in Scotland, and it's just a really heartwarming film that I thought was very, very special. It really touched a nerve with me, Glenn
Okay.
Rothen.
Okay. I look forward to it. Now, it's good to see Daniel Day-Lewis is back in a film directed by his son called Anemone.
Yeah, this film, Daniel co-wrote it with his son, and he hasn't been on screen for 8 years. And thankfully, his son was able to get him out of semi-retirement to play in this film. And it's an absolutely wonderful drama with Sean Bean. It's a film that I think that audiences will really embrace. It's incredibly powerful, and he's such a great actor, and he commands the screen. And there's just so many close-ups of Daniel Day-Lewis in this film, and his expressions and his acting performance. And thank God he's back on the screen in Anemone. So I think you'll really enjoy that film.
Yes, sounds great. Now, I like to see special focuses in the festival, including on Hitchcock and his early films, and a documentary Becoming Hitchcock sounds great, The Legacy of Blackmail.
Yeah, it's a documentary that features that's pretty much set all about that wonderful film Blackmail, which I think he made in 1929 or 1930, and just to complement that, we've got 10 Hitchcock films from the period, all made late 20s, early 30s, and you can see his style coming to fore in these films. And anybody that's interested in the history of cinema or as a filmmaker and just see how Hitchcock developed his style, it's a really rare opportunity to see these films on screen, which probably haven't been seen on screens in Australia for the last 50 years or so, because they're very rare, and they're very thrilled to have them in the festival.
Oh, well done on that. Yes, that's excellent. Now, a film I've heard a great deal about is a film called Hamnet.
Oh, look, I've just seen overnight that the film won the uh, Best Film or the Audience Award at the London Film Festival. It is an extremely powerful, wonderful film starring Paul Mescal, who plays William Shakespeare. and Jessie Buckley playing his wife Agnes, and it deals with a family tragedy, loss, and what we believe was the inspiration for Hamlet, um, and how Shakespeare wrote Hamlet after what happened in his family tragedy. But the film is quite incredible, and Jessie Buckley's performance is extraordinary. There are some scenes in that film that have stayed with me the last couple of months since I've seen the film, and when you see the film, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But her performance is haunting. It's Oscar worthy, and it just shows what an absolute brilliant actress that Jessie Buckley is.
Ah, sounds great. And you mentioned Paul Mescal because he's also in the film The History of Sound.
Yeah, he plays in History of Sound with Josh O'Connor, and History of Sound is a really beautiful film. It's a relationship about of two men for the love for each other and also the love of early music, and they go around collecting these wonderful music on wax cylinders, which were played on. A phonograph that was designed by Edison, and it was captured on that phonograph, and then you played back on it. So it's just quite an extraordinary film. Again, a wonderful period piece, and two great actors, Josh O'Connor and Paul Mescal, again at the top of their game. And the film is just a really strong drama.
Great. Now, it's interesting to see a documentary on Twiggy.
Yeah, the Twiggy documentary is, I mean, I'm a child of the 60s, and the Twiggy documentary is, I was fascinated by it because she was such an iconic pop culture um, icon of the times. And it's a fantastic documentary with great interviews, people like, Paul McCartney and um, uh, there's a real host of people that are interviewed throughout this documentary. And just as a companion piece, we're screening Ken Russell's The Boyfriend, which Twiggy starred in, which is, very rarely seen on screen. Because the film featured so much in the Twiggy documentary, I felt that there'd be certainly interest for patrons that really enjoy the Twiggy documentary to discover or rediscover the boyfriend on the screen.
Oh, I'm glad you're doing that. And it's interesting to note in The Boyfriend, Glenda Jackson plays a small role.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, and Christopher Gable and some of the
Yeah.
Ken Russell favorites, but it's just it's a wonderful musical. It's probably um, understated and probably underestimated, I think.
Yep, I agree. And speaking of retrospective, so to speak, or older films, you've got 25th anniversary screening of a terrific film, Billy Elliot.
Yeah, I mean, Billy Elliot was one of my very favorite films when I was program director at Palace Cinemas, and I cannot believe that it's been 25 years since Billy Elliot was released. It's gone in the blink of an eye, but it's just a wonderful film. I think from the opening frames of the film to that incredible uplifting finale in the film, it's a film that audience that haven't seen it should discover it on the big screen, and then people that loved the film 25 years ago go and have another look at Billy Elliot because it's just a wonderful film.
Yes, and you've got a terrific retrospective of films like Chariots of Fire, Gandhi, Shakespeare in Love, Bridge on the River Kwai, English Patient, and The King's Speech. What a great array of films.
Yeah, what I felt that we have the series is called British Brilliance because each one of those films won the Oscar for Best Film. So it was a rare opportunity to see some of these films on the big screen. Films like Chariots of Fire and English Patient, I think in particular, they haven't been seen on cinema screens for a long, long time. And every film that we've chosen there are just so cinematic, and it gives audiences an opportunity to see these wonderful films on the big screen as they were intended back when they were first released.
Yes, exactly. Oh, so good. Now, good to see a film with Emma Thompson, Dead of Winter.
Yeah, Dead of Winter's a really it's a chilling thriller because it's not only very suspenseful, but it's set I think it was Minnesota, but in the freezing cold winter, and it kind of reminded me of the Coen Brothers Fargo, and Emma Thompson actually plays an American in the film, and the way that she delivers the accent and her performance, it's just quite extraordinary. So that is a film that really worked for me, and I think audiences will be really thrilled with that film. People that like a film with a little bit of an edge and a thriller, don't miss Dead of Winter.
Okay, very good. And just as a contrast, this film intrigued me. It looks like a satire or comedy or absurdist film written by Jimmy Carr called Fackham Hall.
Yeah, it's a very, very clever play on words. It's a really absurd uh, homage, comedy, send up, whatever you want to call it, to films like Downton Abbey or TV series like Downton Abbey and films like Gosford Park. It's a send up of all those you know British period pieces, all those Merchant Ivory type films. And please, for those of you that haven't seen any footage, go onto YouTube, have a look at the trailer because it's absolutely hysterical, and that'll give you a real flavor of the film. But it's if somebody's looking for a really comedic night out, go and have a look at it. It's got a great cast, Damien Lewis and Ben Radcliffe, and it's going to be a real standout. And it plays on the last weekend of the festival, the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Uh-huh. Okay, very good. And it's nice to see a documentary John Cleese packs it in.
Yeah, it's a yeah. Look, John Cleese is such an iconic British figure, and this documentary, I was really fascinated by it because it's his last European tour, and it goes. Not only is it very funny, it's also very human. You see the human side of him, talking about his hair transplants, his hip replacements, his divorce, and why he's had to go back on tour to pay for all these expenses, but. You see both sides of him, the on stage and also the person who John Cleese is, and it's a really interesting documentary.
Okay, very good. And again, it's a bit of a contrast, a film that intrigued me, a film called Four Mothers.
Yeah, Four Mothers again it's a film that's got a lot of heart, and it deals with somebody who's left with not his own mother, but another three mothers over a weekend because his friends have gone off to the Pride March, and he's left with their mothers, and he's just trying to babysit these four eccentric women. It's got a lot of heart, and it's a really special film that won the audience award at the London Film Festival last November. I couldn't get it into last year's festival because the London Film Festival coincided with our festival last year. So I was able to secure it for this year. But if somebody wants a really nice night out at the movies, that's a very, very good film.
Okay. And I wanted to mention Borrowed Time, Lennon's Last Decade.
Yeah, again, a fascinating documentary with just some incredible interviews and footage. It is, in some ways, a little bit haunting because it deals with his last 10 years in New York City leading up to that awful tragedy that occurred. But it's a really strong documentary. And anybody that has interest in the Beatles, and in particular John Lennon, don't miss it because this is going to be, I think it's going to be your only opportunity to see the film because it won't be released in theaters. It's a wonderful festival favorite. So please have a look at the John Lennon documentary.
Terrific, Kim. And just to conclude, do you have one other film you'd like to mention that we haven't discussed so far?
Oh, yeah, look, I have to talk about I Swear,
Ah,
which is based on a true story. It's a quite incredible film because it deals with somebody who suffers from Tourette's syndrome, but it's done in a compassionate way and also a humorous way. And only the Brits can combine the two together successfully without being offensive or making fun of the syndrome. So it's done handled in a beautiful, sensitive way. It's based on a true story, and the film is ultimately uplifting. So it reminded me in some ways of Billy Elliot, the way Billy Elliot uplifted audiences. I think that I Swear is the same thing. I think from the opening scenes where um, there is some comedy that comes up in the first like 3 or 4 minutes and right throughout the film, but it's also handled in a beautiful and sensitive manner.
Excellent stuff. And yes, I was very impressed by I Swear as well. So well done on that. Okay, so Kim, just to conclude, website details, Palace Cinemas, about how people can go and see all these fine films and more.
Yeah, just on the British Film Festival website, www.britishfilmfestival.com.au, or via the Palace Cinemas website where you can buy tickets directly.
Excellent. We've been speaking to Kim Petalas all about this year's British Film Festival at Palace Cinemas nationally. Kim, as always, thanks so much for talking with me.
My pleasure. Thank you, Peter. Thank you.
All the best. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.